Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Reality Recap. I'm your host, Queen E. I'm so excited, and it is so sinister that I'm excited because this show that I'm reviewing today is absolutely unhinged. So, I know I said we were going to continue to talk about Real Housewives of Atlanta, but after I got some DMs asking me to cover Cheat, Unfinished Business on Netflix, we have to talk about it. We absolutely have to. But before I do, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all the lovely things that we love for you to do. Make sure to keep in touch with us on Instagram, Reality Recap Pod. And also this podcast is available on all streaming platforms, and you can get an ad-free version on Apple Podcasts with a subscription. If you are listening to this, there is a visual version on YouTube, baby. If you want to see my facial expressions, you might have to tune in on the YouTube. I'm not even going to lie to you because so much was going on. And I'm not going to lie. When people were like, hey, review the show Cheat. And I started the episode and it was talking about couples where one person in the relationship had cheated and they're basically trying to see if they can rebuild and get back together. I was like, hell no. I'm not watching this. I do not condone cheating. I don't condone in sympathizing with cheaters and all that kind of stuff. But as I kept watching, I said, oh my God. I don't know if I've been this entertained in a long time. I found myself sympathizing with some people who had cheated in the past. This show really took me by surprise. If you have not watched, you should go and watch. Even if you haven't watched, just come here, sit down, we'll talk together, and then you can go and get the little bits and pieces that I might have missed on the show. Now, because I don't want to miss too many details, I am going to have my phone in hand. Baby, we have a lot to get into, so let's just get into it, okay? So basically the show, like I said, is about people who are exes, and they're coming on the show to be in an intensive retreat where they can see if they can get back together. They do have a host. Now, the host name I don't remember, but I do know that she's very well known. And her co-host is Paul Brenson, I think his last name is. And he actually hosts... He co-hosts Married at First Sight UK. He also he has a podcast where he talks about relationships as well. And he's on another UK dating show too. So this is his wheelhouse through and through. And boy, was it necessary to have him. He's in the books for me with like Mark Wahlberg from Temptation Island. If you watch Married at First Sight Australia, John, I love me some John. Love me some John, love me some Mark, and love me some Paul. So Paul and the other host are going to be walking these couples through the process the entire time. And it was absolutely necessary. So let's start with Steph and Andre. We're going to start light, okay? I say light, even though this man did cheat 3 times. Listen. I promise you, this is the lightest, okay? So Steph and Andre were living together for 4 months when she found texts between him and another woman. At the time, she immediately cut him off. She didn't want to hear anything about it. She packed her things, and by the next day, she was out of there. Now, initially, I was like, good on you, mamas. Good on you. She saw something that she didn't appreciate in her relationship and she removed herself immediately. Now they're coming on the show. She finds out that it wasn't just texts between him and this girl. They actually had sex not once, not twice, but thrice. Thrice. With the same person. Now, I don't know about y'all, but if I was living with somebody and I'm to the point where I'm going to leave you simply off of the speculation of cheating, why am I now giving you a chance after I hear that you truly did cheat multiple times with the same person? Steph, I need an explanation. I do. I don't think I got an explanation from her as to why she continued to give him a chance, because I was a little bit confused. And also, I don't think we got an answer from Andre explaining why he felt like he needed to cheat at the time. Because some of the guys will say, and it's all the guys who cheated, like, honestly, maybe season 2, bring some girls who cheated, because girls cheat too. It's just harder for guys in heterosexual relationships to forgive a woman who cheats, but it does happen. It does happen. But in this season, it's all the guys who cheat. And some of the guys would say, oh, I didn't feel appreciated, or I felt like we were in different places in life, or you were always suspecting me, so I felt like I might as well just do it. You know, they have some kind of reason. It's not to excuse their behavior, but it is to give context. And I didn't really get that from Andre. But anyways, he does confess that he did physically cheat with this girl. Oh, apparently he felt neglected. I did write it down, but neglected how? I don't think he explained it enough. I'm sorry. I'm not going to accept that. He didn't explain it enough. Okay. As time goes on, Steph is softening up to him, and you could see that if anybody's going to have a real chance of being together, it's going to be these two. Eventually, they have like family and friends come on the show, and I think it was her sister and his friend. Now, the sister was not buying the story at all, because at the time, all she knew was that texts were being exchanged. Now she's finding out that he actually got physical with this lady. And so the sister's like, you really think you could trust him? And Steph honestly believes that Andre is a changed man. And even me, it pains me to say, I think I did see a change in him. It's interesting how he says he felt neglected, but he showed up as like this doting partner to her through and through. And I'm like, maybe she wasn't showing up for him in a way that he wanted her to because he wasn't showing up for her first. Because I'm seeing the way that he's treating her, and it feels like because she is seeing that behavior, she's able to then reflect that behavior towards him. And so maybe that was the disconnect for Steph. Like she couldn't show up fully because she wasn't seeing him show up fully. And so he felt like there was a disconnect. He wanted to find a connection with somebody else. Bing, bang, bong. That's how we got here. So it's nice to see the progression in their relationship. We're going to talk about how things happen between them after the season. But yeah, they had a great turnaround. I found myself smiling. Sympathizing with a cheater. Crazy. Do you guys believe once a cheater, always a cheater? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you are a cheater, you don't have to expose yourself, but if you would like to, please explain what is going through your head when you're deciding to do that. And when you tell the person, I will not do this again, do you genuinely mean that? Because for me, I'm sorry, like that would be such a hard line. I don't know if there's anything that I could be told that would make me believe that, okay, you really are a changed person. Like you knew that it was wrong in the beginning. So why did you do it? And now after I forgive you, I'm just supposed to believe that you're never going to do it again? Nah, I need a bold, confident cheater to come in the comments, and y'all don't attack them if they do. Please come in the comments and tell me what the hell is going on in your mind. Moving on. Next couple we have is Shawn and Tegan. So they moved in a few weeks into dating. I'm seeing a theme here. These couples that move very quickly don't take the time to get to know each other well enough, don't take the time to build a strong foundation, and then find themselves in a messy situation. So after they moved in, somebody came to her as a woman. And if you don't know what that means, it's when somebody either DMs you, calls you, texts you, and says, hey, by the way, I have been seeing your man. Here are the details. And then you have to go and figure out if your man is really lying or if the girl is lying, whatever, right? So he says that he got drunk and he met up with a girl at a bar, but he did not leave with her. She just happened to be at the second location. He didn't exchange numbers. He didn't whatever. She just happened to be there. And then they kissed, but he didn't kiss her. She kissed him. Yeah. That's what he's saying. And then he took her back to their place. And then she begged him. No. He took her back to her place. And then according to the girl, he begged her not to tell Tegan. But of course, that's exactly what she did. Now, if you're going to cheat, I feel like you might as well just stand 10 toes in it. Because how are you going to tell me, oh, I met this girl at a bar, but I didn't exchange numbers with her. She just happened to be at the next location. She just happened to kiss me, and she just happened to follow me home, and she just happened to be in my bed, and I just happened to tell her not. At some point, you gotta understand that your story don't make no damn sense, okay? What do you mean? I think that, and this is so wild for me to say because Breon said the same thing. I think that I would respect you as a person more if you were just to say point blank, I did this thing. Here's everything that I did. And I know it's going to sound so cruel because it's like, wow, how do you not understand that you're hurting my feelings right now? But I would rather you lay everything out on the line and you said, this is exactly what I did. There's nothing that anybody can say that is extra context. I am telling you everything. Do you forgive me? And how can we work through this? Now me, I'm not going to forgive as of what's the date today? Well, let's just say as of 2025. As of 2025, I'm not the type of woman who would forgive that. Maybe later on, who knows? God will work on my heart because he does ask us to forgive. I'm not there yet. But at least I can respect you as a person for just laying it all out on the line instead of giving like crumbs, only giving bits and pieces. Then I forgive you about this thing and then I learn another thing, then I have to forgive you about that thing. Absolutely not. No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. So anyways, Tegan, of all the people, is having a really hard time forgiving Shawn. So all the women are even looking at her like, I feel like you're being a little bit mean, you're being a bit callous. And I do understand, like from a human level, I do feel like I would also have empathy for Shawn regarding how Tegan is treating him. But I also, like, she doesn't have to be nice to him after what he did to her. She doesn't have to give him a chance. But then again, if that was her impression, if she never wanted to give him a chance, don't even come on the show. Don't make it seem like you're ready to give things another try if you are not going to be willing to work on things at all. She was pushing back at every point. Everything that Paul would say, everything the host would say, she wasn't hearing none of it at all. So she claims that the issue that she has with him is the fact that he doesn't open up about his emotions enough. However, so the way that the house is set up initially is that they're split in half. So it's not exactly like guys and girls. It's some people who cheated, some people who didn't in one house, and then them in another house. At least we thought it was another house. It's the same house. There's just a big dividing wall that they didn't know about. So everybody on Shawn's side of the house is telling Tegan he speaks so highly of you. You have no idea. The man is obsessed with you. The man loves you. And that's fair and fine. That's lovely to hear. But the person who really needs to hear all of these colorful, beautiful, affectionate words is Tegan. And to this day, Tegan hasn't heard those things. Everybody's there saying, oh, he says these things about you. I haven't heard them. So is he putting up a front? Because if he can say it to you and not to the person who it actually matters to, then does it really matter? I think I would have a problem with that. Don't go and tell other, oh my gosh, I had a situation, and I'm going to bring this guy up a lot in this episode. I had a situation where I was dating somebody who worked with my best friend's husband. He didn't know this at the time. So he would tell my best friend's husband, oh, I'm dating this girl. She's amazing. She's this, she's that. She's my baby. She's whatever. She's whatever. When I would talk to him, oh, we're just taking things slow. Oh, you never know where things go. I don't want to put titles on things. I don't want to rush things. I don't want to whatever. So for me, I was getting a very nonchalant version of him. But to other people, he would gush about me. I would hear him on the phone calling me baby. So we're from the same country, but we speak different languages. And the only word that I would catch was baby. And I knew that he was talking about me. I knew enough of the language to know the context of that conversation. But I was just like, how can you be so confident telling other people so much about how you feel about me, but when it comes to me, you can't open up and tell me how you feel? If anything, I am the one who it matters to the most. And if you can't do that, then is it real? I don't know. And then he turned out to be a pathological liar. Ooh, y'all. If y'all have been following this story on my main page, his name is Cupcakes. You all know who Cupcakes is. So he would lie about knowing this guy. I was like, hey, do you know X? He's like, no, don't know him. At the first time that I asked him, I didn't have confirmation that they knew each other. So I was like, okay, whatever. Next time I ask him, because I've now asked like, hey, do you know this person? Do y'all work together? And he's like, oh yeah, we work together. He talks about you, like whatever. So I come back to the guy, hey, do you know X? Nope, don't know him. Guys, he lied about it for almost a year. Don't ask me why I stayed around for almost a year, okay? My self-esteem was not at the best when I was 24, okay? To the point where on New Year's Day, I spent the holidays with my best friend and her husband and their family, and they took a picture, sent it to him on my phone, and he still denied knowing him. It was the craziest thing, but it taught me that a liar is gonna do whatever it takes to maintain the lie. And so these people going on these shows trying to rationalize the cheating behavior and stuff, I'm sorry, I've been burnt enough to know I'm not going to reason with a liar. If you even have the inclination to want to lie to me, we're building the relationship on bad things. I don't need to move forward. I really don't. But anyways, this man is doing the same thing. Shawn will express his feelings for Tegan to everybody but her. And so Tegan is like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to feel flattered by that. That's not a compliment. The person who needs to hear it is me. So moving on, everybody tries to tell her that she's being unreasonable. Shawn decides that it's time to go home. She blames him, saying that he's the one not trying. And I said, well, girl, that's where you lost me. That's where you lost me. I do think that Shawn was trying, not hard enough, but I do think that he was trying. The person who really was at a standstill was Tegan. Tegan was not willing to give him a chance from the time that they came on the show. And so to blame him and to say that he wasn't trying is a bit of a stretch, if you ask me. She says that she never wants to see him, speak to him, hear from him again, ever again. And I think that if that was her stance, she should have never came on the show. Just save your time, save the host time, save the money from the production. Just don't. But I'm glad that she stood her ground. You know, sometimes when you get with that person who you do have that history with, it's easy to fall back into old habits. But she was like, I don't forgive you. And it's as simple as that. And honestly, can't be mad at that. Moving on to Kieran and Amberly. They were on and off for 3 years. She thought that he cheated. But he still claims that he never crossed the line. However, okay, he does admit that he slept next to a couple girls in bed, but didn't touch them. Didn't do anything at all. Okay, Kieran. Months later, she said that she was going to sleep with her ex-boyfriend. I think they were having some kind of argument. So that was her retaliation. Like, oh, I'm going to go sleep with my ex-boyfriend, sorry. And so he decided to go out and kiss another girl. So he did eventually cross the line, but when he was in the bed with those girls, he never crossed the line. That is very hard for me to believe. You telling me you're getting into bed unprovoked? Like, let's start there. Why are you getting into a bed with other women unprovoked in the first place? Whether or not you did anything, why are you in the bed? Why are you going to put yourself in a situation where you're making yourself susceptible to cheating in the first place? But he claims he didn't do anything. But later on, all you did was just go and kiss a girl on a night out. Don't believe it. So he ended up going to the States after their relationship. And she is like, did you date anybody when you were out there? And he's like, no, didn't hang out with anybody. I was just with the guys. And then as he keeps talking, he was like, yeah, I was just hanging out with guys and some girls. And she's like, hold on. Before you said there were no girls, it was just guys. So clearly trust is a really big thing for these two. She does not trust him at all. She doesn't trust him in his presence. She doesn't trust him outside of his presence. She doesn't trust him in her presence, and she doesn't trust him outside of her presence. So even later on, when they decide that they're going to give their relationship a try, trust is going to be a big deal for them. And I don't blame her. The story just doesn't make sense. Like I was saying earlier, if you're going to say something, say it all. Don't give me bits and pieces. And I find it very hard to believe that you found yourself in a bed with a few girls and you had no intention and didn't actually do anything that crossed the line. Nah. Moving on. We have Rebecca and Dan. There are 2 Rebeccas on the show. There's Rebecca G and Rebecca C. This is Rebecca C. So he says that he was messaging girls while he was in Ibiza. She found out by going through his phone. He says that because he just danced and held hands with the girls, he does not consider that cheating. So I have a question for you guys. What do you guys consider cheating? Because I think it is subjective to the relationship. And I did see this other podcast. It's no longer airing right now, but it was called The Love Hour. And they were talking on The Love Hour about the difference between cheating and what is it? Oh my gosh, a relationship violation. So something might not be cheating per se, but if you violate the relationship, it can feel like cheating. If you're dancing and holding the hands of another woman, it's not cheating in my book, but you're definitely violating the terms of our relationship. If you are incessantly texting other women at odd hours of the night, and like, again, to me, That's not cheating, but you're violating my relationship. So I want to know in the comments, what are your guys' thoughts on cheating, relationship violations? Do you think holding hands and dancing with other women is cheating? Because if you ask Dan, he'll say no. So he says that he didn't feel like he was good enough because she always wanted more. And we're going to see that be prevalent throughout the show. He was able to acknowledge that he did hurt her. And he genuinely apologized in the first reckoning. So they do have these ceremonies. They're called the reckoning. I think there's another name. I'm just going to call them the reckonings, okay? And basically the couples discuss the different exercises that they did before the reckoning, and then they decide if they want to continue with each other, yes or no. So at the first reckoning, no, I think this is the second reckoning, he does say, listen, I'm sorry that I did this to you. I apologize for my behavior, my actions, my inconsideration, all this kind of stuff. And here's my plan moving forward. And so she believed it. However, most of the house did not. They felt like it was rehearsed. They felt like he was just saying things that Rebecca wanted to hear. And so he hears that this is going around. And then at the next reckoning, he tries to call out the people to say, well, who had my name in their mouth? Now, one thing about Dan that I've noticed, he likes to buck up a lot. And he likes to make it seem like he's the alpha guy. He's the top dog. And it didn't really hit the way that he thought it did, because the way that he came into this reckoning, he was ready to give his own reckoning to the other people who were talking about him. But immediately people are like, yeah, I said it. I don't believe your apology. I think that you were performative. I think that it was fake, blah, blah, blah. And you could see that he was kind of like, oh my gosh. I think he thought he would be in the driver's seat, kind of giving everybody else a piece of his mind, but nobody was scared of him. Not a single person was scared of him. So initially, I also wasn't sure whether or not his lie was authentic. I mean, whether or not his apology was authentic. However, later on, we do hear him say, I have my own issues with Rebecca, but I have decided not to say anything, not to air them out, because I'm the one who's in the wrong. I'm the one who needs to make amends. It's unproductive for me to say, well, you did this and you did that and you whatever. And I was like, okay, so maybe his apology is genuine, because we see a lot of these guys immediately try to throw blame, try to shift responsibility, but he didn't do that. He accepted responsibility quite quickly. He apologized for his behavior, and he did not deflect anything onto her for most of the season. So I kind of do believe that he was, that he was genuine in his apology. Now, as time goes on, Rebecca is feeling as if what's his name? Dan is not doing enough for her. So she's like, oh, you didn't even check on me before you check in on the other guys. You don't make me tea in the morning. This tea is going to be a hill that this girl is going to die on forever. Okay. She's so mad that he didn't make her tea. And so we get to see this side of Rebecca that Dan is kind of talking about. He's like, she has a bad attitude. And when she speaks to me, she speaks down at me. She's condescending. What did he say? There was a specific word that she belittles him. And when we get to see how she is when she's a little bit agitated, I believe him. I really do. So it ends up that they have to do these deal breakers at the end of the process to decide whether or not they're going to go further with their relationship. And he says that he does not know if he can make her his number one priority, and that if he is going to do anything in their relationship, it has to be because he wants to and not because he's being told to do so. So then at the end of it, they're like, okay, so then do you want to be together? She does. And he says no. He's like, honestly, I don't think I will ever be that man who you are looking for. And boy, was he correct. Was he correct? We'll talk about that later. But I did kind of start to feel for him, like he's really trying to show up for this girl. I do think that he could be doing more, but if it's naturally not in him, then hey, I mean, I don't think that he should be crucified for that. I think that Rebecca could have a little bit more grace and taking into account that this stuff doesn't come naturally to him. So maybe he just needs his hand to be held and to walk through, hey, I need this in the morning. Hey, I would like for you to do this and that and whatever. And I hope that she's also doing the same for him. That it's not just him catering to her 24/7, and she's just receiving, and not giving him anything in return. I hope, but naturally he's just not that guy. He doesn't have the desire to be that guy. And he's like, at the end of the day, you're always going to be wishing for better. And I'm just not better. I can respect that. I can respect somebody saying, hey, I'm not good enough, so sorry. It's better than them saying, well, you're not good enough for me. And he's like, I'm going to bow out because I clearly do not measure up to the standard that you need for me. So let's cut things short for the both of us and let's move on. Next, we have Lucia. I think it's pronounced Lucia, and Connor. So they were together for 4 years, but he always had a wandering eye. So after a drunken night, Lucia showed up, and a girl who he was fooling around with was still in the bed when Lucia showed up to the house. So then what does he do? He makes this girl go up to the attic. Now, mamas, where are you? Come, let me talk to you. The way I would have... Listen, I don't condone cheating. Y'all should know this by this point. But if I'm going to be accomplice in a cheating situation, you're not going to put me in the attic. What do I look like scurrying into the attic like a rat? What? No. But anyways, she went into the attic, and he says that the reasons why he cheated back then was because he was young and immature, and he was feeling a lot of pressure because they had bought a house, and I think they were like 24, 25. So they had bought a house, and the relationship was getting so serious so quick. And so he cheated. I think there's more to it than that. Definitely more to it than that. And also, how did the girl get out of the attic? When was she released? I'm remembering my family home, and the attic was disgusting. As soon as you open it, just dust would come out of the ceiling. Ew, girl, you ran up there like a dirty stinking rat? God forbid. He makes a lot of jokes, and she doesn't appreciate that because it's like he's making light of their relationship. So then there's a portion in the season where the couples get to talk to somebody in the other house who has some insight on the person's partner. And so she talks to Dan, and Dan lets it slip that Connor has an eye for Amberly. So here we are in this process trying to work on our relationship. We know you have a wandering eye, and your eye is still wandering to somebody else. Obviously, she did not like that at all. He cleans it up. Dan cleans it up by saying, oh, well, it's not that deep. He just said it in the game, whatever. You'll notice this thing with Dan. He loves to talk a lot. In the same way that like he bucks up at people, he's also talking the most about people's situation. He's the reason why the other Rebecca and Craig's situation did start to spread in the house. He's the reason why, what is this girl's name? Lucia even knows about the Amberly situation. Like he talks a lot and doesn't back up anything. Interesting. So she finds out that he has been telling people that in the past 5 years since they have been broken up, he hasn't really interacted with her much, so she doesn't even know who he is for real. This is a problem because a month before, they were sleeping together. Yeah, they were sleeping together. So she's like, why are you making it seem like you've been on your solo journey, working on yourself, and you're this changed man when I just saw you not too long ago? We were in the same bed. Like, I know who you are. You have not changed. But even though she has acknowledged that he has not changed, she's deciding to stick around and like see the potential that he has, which is horrible. In group therapy, Lucia asked Connor point blank, do you love me? He can't say that he does. He says that he cares for her. He has love for her, but he does not love her. Let me tell you all about this guy that I was just talking about, this Cupcakes man. And I probably should explain the whole Cupcake situation, why he's called Cupcakes. Oh, guys, the things that I've been through. Haven't been that bad, but just undesirable. I don't remember how this conversation came up, but he told me, I have love for you. And in that moment, I couldn't differentiate what saying I have love for you and I love you meant. But through his actions, I learned that that is just a way to keep you on the hook for longer than what you're supposed to be around for. And I realized that when people sometimes hear the word love, it like springs something in us to be like, oh my gosh, he cares for me. Oh my gosh, no. If he loved you, he would say that. And even when they do, sometimes they don't mean it. But definitely when somebody says, I have love for you, I have learned the hard way 3 times. Third time definitely was a charm. That doesn't mean anything for real. Having love for me is irrelevant. I need you to love me. And the fact that I'd even have to pry that information out of you is proof that you probably don't. And so he would say that all the time. Child, this is how I know for a fact that having love for me didn't mean much. His birthday came around and it was his 30th birthday. No, was it his 30th birthday? Yes, because I had already turned 25. He was 5 years older than me. His birthday came around. I was like, oh my gosh, we should celebrate your birthday. You know, it's a big one, blah, 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 whatever. He was like, you know what? I don't really celebrate my birthday much. I don't really hang out with a lot of friends. Like, I just like to keep things low key. So I was like, okay, cool. I knew that he loved live music. So I booked a restaurant where we would go to a live band. I knew that he loved cupcakes. I knew that he loved chocolate. And I knew that he loved a certain soccer team, like all these things. So I got this pack of 4 cupcakes for him. One of them had like a little emblem of his favorite soccer team. One of them was his favorite flavor. One of them was like very thought out, but also low key because he told me he doesn't like anything low key. I asked him, oh, when are you coming back from work? He told me the day. And I was like, okay, free up your day the day after that. He was like, oh, I'm going to be busy. I was like, okay, that's cool. What about the next day? I'm still going to be busy. Huh. Okay. What about Sunday? He's like, okay, yeah, you can come by Sunday after I hang out with my cousin or whatever. So I'm just like, interesting. The day I was supposed to go and give him those cupcakes, I kid you not, say this is my apartment. I drove this far. I drove this far and got into a car accident. I feel like that was the Lord telling me to sit my ass down. Okay? God was telling me you do not need to be with this man. You see, he's putting your life in danger. I got in a car accident. The man didn't even check on me that whole day. Mind you, he knew I was on the way. He didn't check on me that whole day until the evening. And then he was like, hey, how you been? I said, oh, I got in a car accident. He's like, oh, really? Guys. Crazy. Anyways, after that, I didn't see him for like 6 months. And then, you know, your girl got thirsty and so she hit him up. But the point is that I have love for you. Don't buy into it, baby. If you have a different story, let me know. Maybe somebody has said, I have love for you, and they truly have the most genuine intentions for you. But for me, that was never the case. So anyways, Connor says that he's now second guessing their relationship after they meet up with her sister and his best friend. Basically, both of them were like, I don't believe in the future of this relationship. And so after that, he's like, yeah, I'm not quite sure if there's a future for us. And he also has a problem with the fact that Lucia is too future focused. You brought her onto the show to work on being in a relationship together. And you're going to tell her she's too focused on the future that you guys would have together. That's crazy. And also the fact that he was fighting tooth and nail for this relationship just to be swayed by the word of one of his friends. Seriously. So obviously Lucia is pissed, but she's going to hold on to hope and she's going to stay for one more week after that reckoning. Then they do the deal breakers thing. And then Connor decides, you know what? I'm not even going to let you say your deal breakers. I'm done. I don't want to be here anymore. I didn't even write any deal breakers because I don't see a future together. Paul says that he thought that she was going to leave the week before, which she was, but she said that she was holding on to hope. And he said, and that's your problem. Don't fall for potential because potential is not real. Believe in the person who is sitting in front of you, not the person who you think they're going to be, because that's really what potential is. Potential is putting yourself in that person's shoes and seeing what you would do if you were them. That's not to say that that's what they would do as themselves. Otherwise, in most cases, they probably would have already done it. Don't fall for potential. It's a waste of time. It is a waste of time. And it's interesting because Paul has been telling her, I love how real that Paul has been with this cast. Paul has been telling her throughout the process, you don't love yourself enough. You don't. You don't love yourself. You're falling for potential. Now look at your situation. So she's very upset. He's like, listen, I'm standing by my decision. Paul actually commends Connor and says, you know what? It is better that you were deciding to end things because it's not an emphatic yes. If it's not an emphatic yes, it's a no, guys. That goes for consent. That goes for anything. If somebody isn't fully sold on you, that is your answer. Also, no answer is an answer. Just, yeah. So I guess kudos to him for putting his foot down, but yeah, moving on. Let's go to Liam and Olivia. How many more couples do we got? Okay, we got 2 more couples after this. So Liam and Olivia were together on and off for 10 years. For 10 years. So near the beginning of their relationship, he did kiss somebody else. And he thinks that they got past this, but she keeps like crucifying him for cheating. And he's like, bro, I kissed somebody in our first year of dating. Is it that deep? Unbeknownst to Liam, Olivia has information that he actually did cheat physically with somebody else like 3 years ago. So well into their relationship. He's denying. She's like, I know that you cheated. He's like, no, I didn't. And if you keep accusing me, I'm going to leave. I said, hold on. Not you giving an ultimatum. He said, if you're going to keep harping on the past, if you're not going to forgive me, if you're not going to move on, then I'm just going to leave. Knowing he cheated and is actively lying about it. It's insane. So as time goes on, she's telling people, I actually have texts. I've actually spoken to the girl. I have details that a girl would only know if she was actually intimate with him. And that gets back to Liam. And then Liam is like, well, okay, if she has the details, then I guess I'll have to fess up. You're nasty. You're nasty. So now that he knows that she has details, she confronts him again, and now he admits. Now he's like, yeah, it was a drunken night and da-da-da-da-da, whatever. So Paul is like, well, you told us before that you didn't know anything, and now that you know it's a drunken night, are there more details that you know? And he's like, yeah, I actually do know for a fact that I definitely cheated, and I know all the details that she's talking about. For years, you looked this girl in the eye and made her feel like she was insane. You made her feel like she was going crazy. You even had the audacity to give her an ultimatum to say that she was the problem. And unless she stops being the problem, you are going to remove yourself because you don't deserve to be crucified for something that you didn't do. Nasty work. Nasty work. Nasty work. So anyways, what happened? Paul tells her that there's no reason for Liam to give her more than crumbs because she gets excited when he gives her crumbs. Paul read Olivia for filth. For filth. He's like, do you expect him to do better? He's never going to. You commend him for doing the bare minimum. What person is then going to go above and beyond when it's not necessary? I said, oh my God. You're right. You're right. And I think we all know this, but to have somebody tell you that to your face on national television in front of the person who cheated on me, that's actually crazy. That's actually crazy. I would crash out. I would absolutely crash out. So the friends and family come. And Olivia's friend Celine is the one who actually told her about these cheating allegations. So Celine doesn't know yet that it has been confirmed that he cheated. She finds out, yup, it's real, it's true, the girl wasn't lying. And so Celine is like, how can you forgive him for something that he lied to you about for years and even was going to continue to lie if you didn't have irrefutable evidence? If Celine didn't go to her, Liam would still be like, you need to let go of the past. You need to let go. All I did was kiss a random girl. He would still be singing that song. That's insane. So then Liam turns around and he's like, well, Celine, you don't have the best track record. You don't have the right to come for other people's relationships. He was being so nasty to her. And I think that Olivia needs to pay attention to how Liam acts when he doesn't get his way. What were we talking about last week with the whole Real Housewives of Atlanta? A true sign of somebody's character is how they behave themselves when things are not going their way. That's a true sign of who somebody is. And this is how he is when things are not going his way. He'll flip it on you and say, you're the problem. You're the reason why we can't continue in this relationship because your friend can't say anything about me. Look at her life. It's insane. So Selena's like, I never, ever want to speak to him again. Ever. This is really hard for Olivia because obviously she loves her best friend and she loves her man. But I think I'd have to be that friend too. Not only are you putting my friend through the ringer for over 10 years, you're then going to try to make me the bad guy knowing you're continuously lying about stuff. That's crazy. Whether or not I have done things in my own life, we're not talking about me. We're talking about you. How dare you? Don't even try it. So anyways, she holds him to account. He does end up apologizing and then he asks her to be his girlfriend. She says yes. He says that she needs to let go of the past and let him hang out with his female friends. Those are the deal breakers that he outlined. She was okay with that. So we're going to touch on them at the reunion portion of the season. Second last, we have Craig and Jazz. Now, I thought Craig was so beautiful coming onto this show. The more you get to know his nasty character, can I say what I want to say? Whatever, it's my podcast. He has a face that'll give you nightmares. Yeah, he does. So Craig and Jazz were in a situation where he was still dating his baby mama at the time that he got with Jazz. And he says the reason why he approached her was because he saw that she was just so pretty and he could not let her go. He saw a pretty girl and just could not let her go. So Jazz, don't you think there are other pretty women out here? Don't you think that for him, he's also going to be put in a conundrum where there's a pretty girl that he just can't let go? Baby, that happened sooner than I thought. So let's get into it. He said that he tried to be honest by saying that he was living with his baby mama, but that they weren't in a relationship. Respectfully, Jazz, that would have been enough. You're living with the mother of your child. You believe that they're not together? Seriously? You actually believe that? Girl, be so for real. So Jazz got very protective over Olivia because Liam kept trying to lie about the cheating thing. And Craig didn't like the fact that she was in everybody else's business. He's just like, yo, it's too much rah-rah with you. You always want to bark. You always want to, talk up in situations where you don't need to speak. Like, don't do that. So they start having a back and forth at one of the reckonings. With her defending Olivia, I did understand. It felt like Olivia didn't have a backbone. And so Jazz was kind of like her mouthpiece. And Jazz was right to be her mouthpiece because Liam was in fact lying. But the fact that Craig attacked her in that way, that would have been yet another indication for me, if I were Jazz, to say, this is not the man for me. I cannot be with this man. He does not have good intentions for me. So we're going to move on a little bit. And we're going to talk about Biggs and Rebecca. This is very good that they came on the show because we're going to be slowly transitioning back into Love Island. And if you did not know, Biggs and Rebecca did meet on Love Island. I don't remember the season, but they were both bombshells. And they were sent home quite quick, but they were together for a while. I was even keeping up with their relationship and everything. I don't know why. Something about them intrigued me at the time, but they have been together for almost 2 years. He confirmed that he cheated near the end. Now, she did not know this. She thought that all he did was like text girls or something, or there's just speculation that he had cheated, but she never had concrete evidence. In the first reckoning, he admits, yes, I did in fact cheat. Rebecca is turned off completely. Biggs is going to keep trying to getting good with her. As soon as she got confirmation that he cheated, he was done for her. Done completely. There was no chance of rectifying things, okay? So they broke up because she said that she wasn't happy within herself, which is a good thing. I'm actually really glad that she did that. If you feel like you are not at your best, sometimes it is beneficial to just sit down and take some time. Just sit down, heal, and show up better in your next relationship or in this relationship after you've both had time away from each other. Sometimes being in a relationship can actually be quite healing for you. I feel like that's what I'm currently going through, if I'm being honest. I've been telling my friends, like, what I love the most about him is how much his love is healing me. So that is possible, but I do commend her for taking that time to be like, I'm not at my best, so I need to work on myself before I can even integrate somebody else into my life. Now, turn around to Biggs. He says he stepped out of his relationship because he was ready for a family, whereas Rebecca was stuck in the party life. So you mean to tell me you're ready for the family, and the way that you're going to show that is by cheating? That makes sense to you? That makes sense to you. Seek help. Seek help. So Rebecca finds out that he was also texting girls during their relationship, and she's like, you know what? I'm done. Like, I was already done, but now I am done. She is doing the group therapy session with him. She's unable to look him in the eyes. She's like repulsed by his presence. She literally says, it disgusts me to look at you. I'm disgusted. What does Biggs think? Oh, she's just playing hard to get. If somebody said I disgust them, I'm going to believe them. What? He's like, oh no, she's just playing hard to get. How delusional do you have to be? And throughout the season, you could see how delusional Biggs is, because at this point, Rebecca starts having a wandering eye for somebody else. And Biggs does not know that that's going on. But once he finds out, he has an issue to say, oh, how could you do this to me? How could you hurt me like this? Don't you know the effects that this has on me? Oh, are you not the man who cheated? Are you not the reason why we're here in the first place? You do not have the right to tell me what I can do as a single woman after you cheated while in our relationship. Don't you dare. Don't you dare. And he keeps saying, oh, the past is the past. Shouldn't you just forgive me? We should just move on. Here's the thing that all these cheaters need to know. Should you have cheated in the first place? No, you shouldn't have. But you did. So now that we're here, you can say, I'm sorry for what I did. I apologize for cheating on you. I apologize for hurting you. The person who's receiving that apology does not have to forgive you. That is not mandatory. If she doesn't want to forgive you, that's her prerogative. It is not up to you to decide when she should be over it, when she should forgive you, when she should move on. Now, I believe if you are going to reconcile with a cheater, you should forgive. You should move on. Otherwise, it's going to just keep showing up in your relationship time and time again. The distrust is always going to be there because you don't genuinely forgive them. You don't trust them. You haven't moved on. However, it is not that other person's decision to determine when that happens. Don't you dare. Don't you dare. And then how dare you make it seem like what she's doing is so bad, knowing that we're in this position in the first place because of you. Biggs, I'm gonna call you Littles. Because what? Anyways, the wall between the two villas come down, and this is a little bit awkward now because Rebecca and Craig have been having a little flirt while they were in their private villa. So now that the villas are mixing, he's playing two games. He's trying to keep Rebecca on the hook because he wants to have a backup plan, but he's also trying to tell Jazz that he's only there for her. He's sold on her. He is going so far as to say that Rebecca has become super clingy and he doesn't know why. He doesn't even see it for her like that. Jazz at one moment was like, wow, look at her body. Like, she's so beautiful. And he's like, as if he hasn't been visually devouring this woman on a day-to-day basis. Now he just doesn't see it for her. Now he's like, oh, we're just friends. Like, she's just so on me. Like, I'm so tired of her. Actually, let me go talk to her and end things because this is too much. In this conversation where they ended things, he was still basically saying, if it were not for Jazz, I would be with you. Does that sound like anything to you? Doesn't sound like anything to me. So Jazz is starting to figure out, hold on, this girl is actually trying to push up on my man. It's not just a little friendship that they have. So she decides that she's going to expose their connection at the reckoning. So at first, Rebecca was like, I'm not even going to say too much because it's not my place to say much. But it was reciprocal. I'm not going to sit here and make it seem like I was pushing up myself on a man who was not doing the same back. And then I think it was Steph who co-signed that. She was like, it wasn't just her. Okay, let's not do that. So now Jazz and Biggs are learning that Craig was actually trying to crack on with Rebecca as well. Jazz is livid. Jazz is pissed. Biggs is pissed too, but honestly, Littles, you can go. I'm tired of him. They actually do go. They decide, you know what, we're going to end the relationship. We're out. So the next day, they decide to speak. It's so tumultuous. He decides that he's just going to end things because, no, who really decided? She decided she was going to end things. And then he put the nail in the coffin by being like, you're going to regret this. I loved you with all my heart. Nobody else is going to love you the way that I loved you. You're never going to find somebody like me. And I kid you not, I had PTSD whenever I saw that. Because Cupcakes, along with another man and another guy, I think a good 3 guys, either explicitly said or insinuated the fact that I would regret no longer being with them. Let me tell you something. Every single time that a man has told me I would regret not being with them, I have never regretted it. If anything, I am so happy because of you, I get to be in love today. Thank you so much. Thank you for your services. Okay? Thank you. Every person who made it seem, oh, you'll never find somebody like me. That is not true. Actually, thank God I'm not finding somebody like you. I found somebody better. It is so crazy to me when people are like, well, you're going to regret this. Why is that your first thought? Why are you saying, well, there's nobody like me? Like, they're so manipulative and they're trying to make you believe you can't do better than me. You need to settle with me because you're not going to find better. And they know they have to do that because if push came to shove and they actually needed to start afresh, people are going to see through the bullshit and they're not going to put up with the same things that that girl was putting up with. And so that's why you have to convince her that she can't do better because you know you can't. You know you can't do better. You're going to regret. Oh, shut up. So they leave. Good riddance to them. We're going to move on to the reunion portion of things, right? So all the couples, they go back home. They get like 4 weeks to see what life is like post the experiment. And then they have one final reckoning together. And then they do like a 9-month update after the fact. So I'm going to start with Tegan. Tegan is still very upset at Shawn. Shawn has since deleted her number and he did wish that they could be friends. She blocked him. She was like, no, I have no interest in that. Can't be mad at her. He cheated. This is the consequence for cheating. Bing, bang, bomb. We move on. Then we have Connor. As soon as he got home, he immediately started following her friends. Who was Connor with? All I said was her. I didn't write the name down. Connor was with Lucia. He immediately started following her friends. Apparently this was a new Instagram. And he started bragging that he was dating again. He then says that he has no respect for her. And he was just so nasty during the final reckoning. Like, for somebody who came on the show fighting for a relationship to then turn around and say, I don't respect you. This is one of the reasons why I cannot forgive cheating. Because you knew what was required of you in our relationship. And even if I'm not pulling my weight, you could talk about it. You could break up with me. There are things that we could go to therapy. There are things that we could do other than you cheating. And for me, the cheating is already proof that you don't respect me. But furthermore, for him to then say it, I don't have respect for you. Crazy. So Paul is like, listen, I commended you for making a decision where you knew you weren't 100%, so you removed yourself. But one thing about you speak very nasty and you don't realize the impact that your words have on people's feelings. That is not a nice thing to say. So don't say things like that. Don't move the way that you do. Don't be as callous as you are. And he did take that on the chin. He also tells Lucia, this is Paul, also tells Lucia, falling for potential is not it, mamas. Not it. Stop going on hope. Stop going on vibes. Go on the person who you are seeing in front of you. And if she would have done that, she would have seen that Connor is a nasty man and you don't need to be with him. Moving on. We have Rebecca C, who says that she wants nothing to do with Dan, to the point where she reached out to an old flame and they are now in a relationship. And you know why she is so happy to be with this man? Because he makes her tea in the mornings. Girl, there's got to be more to life than tea. Seriously. This girl is going on and on about this damn tea. And I'm just like, can you just say that you wanted somebody who would consider you more? Somebody who would cater to you more? Because dying on this hill of tea is crazy. And it also confirms what Dan was saying. I was never going to be good enough. She told me that man was just a fling. And she was like, well, I wasn't really serious with him because I still had feelings for you, whatever. But you came in here still having feelings for that guy. So Dan was right. No matter what he did, he was never going to be good enough. Not you having me empathizing with a cheater. Girl, you know you're wrong for that. But yeah, he has been on a date. So then Rebecca was like, you have no right to be upset with me if you're going on dates with new people. Point of the matter is they are done for good and it is for the best. Then we have Amberly and Kieran. Kieran is the one who went to the States and who had girlfriends and stuff like that. And so she still has an issue with the fact that he follows all these girls. And she's like, they are new people. And so I have a problem with you liking, interacting, and whatever with all these new girls that I don't know about. And also when you go on their pages, they don't have, prim and proper profiles. They have, some salacious, scandalous profiles. She does not like that. So their trust issues are still a thing. I think that he asked her to block her ex, the ex that she threatened to go and sleep with. So she did do that. And then he gave her the opportunity to unfollow certain people that she was definitely uncomfortable with. So fine. 9 months later, they did end up moving in together and they plan on buying a home. I think it was in Manchester. All right. Best of luck. Then we have Steph and Andre. She moved back in immediately. And she claims that they have not had any issues since living together. Paul warns them that the pace might be a little bit fast and to just be careful not to hop back into old habits. 9 months later, he did end up getting her a promise ring. If you know me, you know I hate those. I feel like promise rings are not only juvenile, they are manipulative. Get me the engagement ring. What are you promising? I promise to save it. But anyways, she loves it. Girl, if you like it, I love it. Happy for you. Then we have Liam and Olivia. They tell his mother that he did cheat about 3 years prior. The mother did not know about this. And she actually tells Olivia that if ever her son is moving mad, she can actually talk to her about this. Like, you don't have to suffer in silence. If my son is not doing right by you, come to me. And we should handle that. I love that the mama said that because I'm so sick and tired of moms making it seem like their son is the best thing since sliced bread. Their son can do no wrong. I think I've said this before. In my own family, we hold each other accountable. There's none of this like, oh girl, he's a saint. He would never. No, he would. He would. And it's up to you to decide if you're going to stick around for the things that he would do that you know that he would do. Because baby, if you stick around, there's nothing I can do. But if you want to leave, I support you. I've been there. I'm not going to lie. I've been there. I've told somebody, hey, if you want to leave him, you can leave him, girl. That's not my problem. I'm not sleeping with him. You are. So if he's not satisfying you, girl, go immediately. Moving on. Olivia's family has not yet embraced Liam. And she does say that her best friend is no longer her best friend. And so Paul is like, yeah, this is a problem. Typically in heterosexual relationships, when the woman does not have support, that isolation, hell, it could lead to a cycle of abuse. He did not say this, but we do know this to be true. A lot of abusers do intentionally isolate you so that you are fully dependent on them and they can do whatever they want to you and you know you have nowhere else to go. But he says typically the relationships where the woman is secluded like this end up dissolving because the woman needs a support, oftentimes more so than the man does. And I was like, yeah, girl, it's one thing for like just your friend to not support and maybe your family supports or vice versa. But for none of your friends and none of your family to support you, that's a problem. It's similar to, what's her name? Shantae with Breon. I think that she was so latched onto him because that's all that she had. She didn't have a support system, not a strong one at least. So the person who she has the most attachment to is the one that she's going to stick beside the most. Girl, you need a support system. You need a life. This is something I was also telling my boyfriend because he was like, oh, I don't really need friends and stuff when I come over to you. And I was like, you absolutely do. You need a life outside of me. We're not doing this. It's just me and you in a bubble thing because when me and you are at odds, where are we going to go? And even if we're not at odds, when you just need that alternate environment, where are we going to go? No, you need your own support system. I need my own support system. And I would hope that both those support systems support each other. Thank you very much. Eventually, 9 months later, he ended up being embraced by the family. She moved in, I think. Did she move in? Yeah, he asked her to be his girlfriend because they were not yet boyfriend and girlfriend. And she got a key to his place. And then 9 months later, it was confirmed that the family has embraced him. So cool. Last but not least, I got to put my phone down for this because we're probably going to be moving around a lot. Craig and Jazz. So after the show, they spoke a little bit here and there. Ultimately, they decided, you know what? It's just not going to work out. Cool. Craig then entertains a date with Rebecca. Rebecca's like, is it done between you and old girl? And he's like, yeah. And she's like, did you speak to her? And he's like, nah. So she's like, so we can move forward. And he's like, yeah. We get to the final reckoning. And baby, was it a reckoning. So Rebecca is like, yeah, I met up with him. He said that y'all never spoke. Jazz is like, that's a lie. We spoke a few times, actually. And not only did we speak, he asked if we should be in a relationship. He's like, no, I didn't. No, I didn't say that. I never said that. She's like, oh, so you're lying. Okay. Did we not sleep together? Jazz, you're telling lies now. You think Jazz is going to lie about having sex with you? With how nasty of a person you are being, why would she ever want to admit that? If she's going to lie about anything, it's the fact that y'all didn't have sex. It is embarrassing to admit that she laid in bed with you. That is not something to lie about. So he is dying on this hill. I never said I wanted to be with you. We didn't even speak that much. I just came to drop my clothes. I didn't sleep with her. I didn't. So then the question is asked, well, Rebecca, did you sleep with him? She can't answer. And Biggs is like, look at her. She did. I said, oh, hold on, wait. Not too much from you, sir. Not too much. But she did look guilty. She did. And so he's like, oh, well, the situation wasn't that deep or whatever. And then the rest of the house is like, okay, well, we were giving you the benefit of the doubt because you were saying that the flirting really wasn't that reciprocal. But now you're saying there was a connection on the inside that you did want to nurture on the outside and stuff. Like your story's not making sense. Oh, no, it wasn't that deep. Craig can lie. Craig can lie. And Jazz is seeing clear as day how manipulative this man has always been. From the day that they met, he has always been a dirty, stinking liar. Always. And the fact that coming on here, he would have put up the facade that he would have been serious about her when he fully planned on doing the same thing he did to her to somebody else. We know that his issue is not being able to let go of a pretty girl. And that's exactly what happened with Rebecca. And then I'm looking at Rebecca like, baby girl, the way that you're so upset at Biggs for doing what he did, but you were going to give another cheater a chance? That's crazy. And I'm kind of glad that the house had some smoke for Rebecca too. Because yes, Rebecca, yeah, you do have your issues with Biggs, but you can admit that you did hurt him. You led him under the false pretense that you were trying to work on things, knowing that you didn't intend on working on things. But now, not only did you hurt him, you hurt Jazz. You knew that he was trying to work on things with Jazz. And you didn't end things. You could have. Don't make it seem like the decision was only in his court. You could have ended things too, and you didn't. So that's wrong. So Rebecca's like, listen, I hold my hands up. You're right. I'm done with him. Jazz is like, I'm done with him too. And Craig, oh, you're a nasty man. Nasty. I want to hear the story from his baby mama. Girl, where you at? I want to know, like, how was this guy in a relationship? Like, how does he get them? How does he rope them in? Is it just looks and charm? Because after seeing his behavior, he's actually a nasty human being. Oh my goodness. And that's so bad for me to say, especially as a Christian. Lord, forgive me. You know I'm just, replying to a reality TV show. You know it's not that deep, Lord. Come on. Nasty. Oh, I was thoroughly entertained though. Give me another season. I'm going to be locked in. I don't know why this show didn't get enough traction. I didn't even hear about the show if not for the DMs. That's how you know I check my DMs. I did not know about the show, and I'm so glad that y'all told me to tune in. I was thoroughly entertained, and I'm also concerned that I'm entertained by stuff like this. Shows like The Ultimatum, shows like Temptation Island, a show like Cheat. Why are the shows with like toxic relationships the ones that really get me going? Yikes. Yikes. Even Love Island. My favorite part of Love Island is Casa Amor. Send help. Send help. But with that being said, Love Island USA actually comes back June 3rd. So we're going to be hopping back into that. We're going to have some like pre-Love Island content coming to you before then. So if you love me for Love Island, baby, we're going to be locked in for a while. So I hope that you're ready. I'm really, really excited for that. I also am open to talking about other things if we have the time to do so. So you can definitely keep adding to my watch list. Whoever suggested Cheat, y'all know what's up. Y'all know how to suggest a good show. As always, like, comment, share, and subscribe. Do all the lovely things. Follow on all the platforms. Listen and watch me every Tuesday on all streaming platforms. And I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.